We're going to start
Okay.
this thing off right.
So we're going to start this thing all right.
Welcome to Tip on Top of the Tip. I am Zenitra Perry.
And I am INEZ Chimangarisa.
Yes, ma'am. So as we always do, we're going to kick things off with our value of the day. Throw this thing in our little spin wheel. Okay, so today's value of the day is wisdom. Wisdom.
This is some grown people talk, okay?
Young and sit down.
As they say down south, you live long enough. You go have wisdom, okay?
Right.
So let me think. So like wisdom. All right. So this is what I'm thinking about. Wisdom to me is the ability to change the way you act from a place of awareness and acceptance. Right. So in being a coach, right, in my journey into coaching, what I've realized is that awareness is very important as the first stage to your ability to change, right? You have to be conscious of what you're doing, whether it's what you're thinking or the way you're acting, right? And when you become aware, like you're in a place where usually you want to change it immediately, right? You're like, I don't like it. Or you beat yourself up about it. So you're like judging that you're doing something. Or you let your ego tell you that that's just the way I am. Right? Like, and so the stage of awareness is important, but also the way you approach it is how you can get to wisdom. Because if you approach the awareness piece from a place of curiosity, right? Like, what am I doing that's causing this, right? What am I thinking that's causing, how do I act in these scenarios that equate to these things that I may not want in my life, right? Or do I want these things? Then you can move into a place of acceptance of it, right? And so for me, acceptance is really like presence with it. So you're not just aware, but you're able to sit in it. And you're able to sit with it, and you're almost able to like watch yourself, right? Like there's a lot of things in my life now. I've gotten to the place where I can literally watch myself from outside of myself and be able to be like, I see what you did there. I see what it did there, right? Like, like, and not from a place of like judgment or like, that's just me, that's just how I am, but really like curiosity, like, did you really want that? How's that going for you? How's it going for you? Right? Like, so, and there's also like a place of like compassion around it once you get into acceptance. Cause you're like, I can see why I do that. Right? Like you actually have thought through like, where's that coming from? Whose voice is that? Right? That's making me do these things or say these things or act this way and create these results in my life that I may not want, right? And so like, there's a bit of like owning it. Like, I feel like the ownership, owning the things that I do, right? So I'm a Taurus. So I can be very, I can dig my heels in on the things that I want to do and the things I don't want to do, right? Now, a lot of times the things that I don't want to do are just things that are uncomfortable to me, but not necessarily things that I shouldn't be doing. And now I'm able to watch myself in those moments. Like we always talk about how like in conflict management, I feel like I'm so much more comfortable and aware and able to move into it now because I can see why I don't do it. And from a place of compassion, as opposed to like, you weak, or you just, you ain't bad, you ain't bold, you ain't right. It ain't none of that. It's just like, oh, like this is why that you don't do that. Like, and I own that part of me. And now I have authority over it.
That's deep.
Right. So like when I get into acceptance, like I'm like, oh, I have authority over that. Like I can see that it's me. I can see why I do it. I can own that this is why I'm doing it. And I have authority over it. And it's not until you get that authority over it that you can step into wisdom.
Okay.
Right. So like once you get the authority over it, you can step into wisdom and be like, I'm choosing to change this because I see myself, I see why I'm doing it, I see what it's creating in my life from a place of compassion, and I'm choosing to change it. And the thing about wisdom is like, you can peacefully change it. It's not a change from a position like, oh, I gotta change it right now, or such and such gonna happen, or it's really urgent, or like it's just like, you know what? I'm just gonna stop doing that. Right?
Listen.
Like
Okay.
stop doing it.
Where you just got to is where I started. When I think about wisdom, the first word that came to mind was pace, followed by ease, right? Like when you're in this place of operating from wisdom, there is an ease that comes with the way you operate in life. And I know that I'm an intense person, right? Like I'm going after the things, I'm doing the things, I'm analyzing the things, like it's like go, 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 go. But for me, when I'm operating from a place of wisdom, there is much more calm. The ego is silent. You mentioned curiosity before. Like it just slows things down. There's a lot less angst and anxiety, a lot less pressure. But something about wisdom to me, just even when I think about someone who is wise, there is a slow and steady pace to things.
Even to the way they talk.
No, yes, just like
Yes, where they
slow down. And I feel like, you know, maybe that's just the space that I'm in right now. Like, girl, slow down. You're doing all of the things. You are prepared for all of the things. You don't have that haste and that angst that comes with more, I'm going to call it youthfulness, not just immaturity, but just, I feel like when you think about the youth, they're like running wild and fast and free and kind of doing all of these things. And to me, wisdom is the opposite of that. You mentioned compassion. Like there's so much compassion and grace when you're operating from a place of wisdom, because you I guess you know all of the things that you didn't know. And you can look back and be like, oh, baby, you just didn't know.
Yeah. Look at you now, girl.
You just didn't know, right? Whereas, you know, the youthfulness makes you think you have to know everything and tells you even that you know everything.
That you do know everything.
Exactly. And that's where kind of the ego is. Because then it also makes you judgmental of people who you think maybe don't know. And then you, in turn, the moment you don't know something, you turn that judgment to yourself. But the wisdom is like, there are so many things you don't know, and you learn them as you go along the journey. Right? Like there's the compassion, there's the grace, there's the acceptance. So like all of the things that you mentioned, but it's so calm, it is steady, it's not easily shaken. And I feel like that's like the place that I'm like constantly trying to get to, but I don't want to say constantly, because even constantly has a sense of urgency in the word. It's funny to me how these values always end up tying with what we're going to talk about. So
exactly.
Like, I was like, jump ahead and get
thinking of that.
I'm like, man, this is crazy how that worked out. But yeah, so for me, wisdom is really about pace. It's about consistency. It's about being steady. It's about being gracious. It's about being compassionate. And there's so much, there's a great need for that when we're talking about work. And wisdom doesn't always come with it's not just age, right? Like my favorite
Mm-hmm.
saying is that stupidity and maturity know no age, right? So you could be very young and very wise. You could be very old.
That
and
is so good.
very,
You can be very old and very stupid.
and that's my wisdom at like 17. I've been saying that for
Oh
like
my
20 plus
God.
years. But yeah, so being wise, to your point, there is a certain authority that comes with it. And so you're able to operate from that place. And so you could be, 25 and really be an authority in a particular subject or a particular topic.
Mm-hmm.
And you're able to bring that steadiness, into the conversation when you're talking about work things, because you're not so easily, frazzled or riled up about, a potential problem or potential issue that may come up. You're able to bring that wisdom to kind of slow everybody down. Like, okay, guys, wait a minute. Either we've been here before, you can remind people, or when I've experienced that, but like there's that authority, there's that acceptance, that there's that space of knowing. And when you operate from that place, there's so much less negative stress. 'Cause there are good stressors, as well. Stress can be positive or negative. But you can bring a different energy into the space when you operate from a place of wisdom, and that comes with experience.
That's exactly what I was just thinking of. Like, yeah, experience is a big deal. It's a big part of the wisdom, right? Like there's a level of discernment that comes with experience.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because you know what's on the other side of some of these decisions and some of these actions, right? Like you, my brain is always, the first thing came to my brain was, this ain't what you want. This ain't what you want. Yeah, like, that this ain't what you want. Like, right. And that need to be another tip. I just thought about that. They just coming out. They just coming out. Yes, like, because what has happened before, and even if it hasn't happened to you, you have watched it from a watcher's place, which is whether you're watching yourself or you're watching someone else, right? Tony Robbins says, like, it doesn't have to take 10 years to have 10 years experience. Ooh. Right? Like, you could watch somebody in your 1 year of experience who has 10 years of experience and gain their experience, right? And their knowledge and their understanding and their discernment, if you're watching from a place of trying to take the wisdom, right? Like, so yeah.
That I love that you bring in experience, because experience, the way we talk about it from like an expertise or understanding, requires learning, because you can be involved in something for a very long time and not learn from it. And therefore you don't have the experience / expertise in it, where you would have this level of wisdom, this level of discernment. And so I think a lot of times when we talk about experience, we're talking about those who have learned from those experiences. Because many people can be in a place, in a particular setting, a particular environment where they are there for a long time, but not have the experience of it, not be able to understand like how it works, how to make it work for them, how to make it work for others, and then be able to give people advice and operate from that place of wisdom. So even when we're talking about experience, the key part to it is that you had to learn from it. And that's why, to Tony Robinson's point, you can watch someone and get 10 years of experience without you having to be the one experiencing it, because what are you learning in the process?
Absolutely. That's that. To me, that's that awareness piece. Like, like, what are you learning? What are you seeing? Are you actually even paying attention? Right? Are you conscious? Are you present mentally? Right, not physically.
Right.
So this show, that was the honey. This is a good value. Like, y'all, look, we better have to start charging for this. Like, so many gems being dropped. Okay,
enjoy it while it's free. But that leads us, because I know we've both been like itching to jump into today's tip on top of the tip. Honey. And the tip on top of the tip is RAT now.
Okay.
Aura, not to be confused with the letter R.
Yes.
Aura. A-T now.
Okay.
So
I need to know. First of all, y'all already know I have no idea where this came from. So if you know where this came from, let me know, because you know how my memory set up. The tips come out, the memories don't. Okay. So
this is hilarious because all the time, because INEZ is the best at coming up with the topics. I like that's her sweet spot. All the while I'm thinking you know exactly where this came from, and you don't. Okay. So story time. This goes back to middle school, and we had a particular substitute teacher, Mr. Crowder, God rest his soul, who was super, super animated. And he had all of these sayings, like he would say that, you know, if he wrote you up, he was going to give you a pink Cadillac because the slip was on the pink piece of paper. But whenever he wanted to call about a sense of urgency, he would tell you to get it done and get it done. R-A-T now. Not to be confused with right now, but
rat now. Okay.
Rat now. So R-A-T is about urgency.
Urgent. Okay.
Now. What needs to be done right now?
Rat now. Rat. Wow. That's so crazy. I completely forgot about that. Of course. Honey, that rat though, like it was. So the thing is, like, as I think about it, it's like, there's no time to waste, right? Like the sense of urgency in certain situations is very much like, if you don't move, it's going to be consequences and repercussions, right? Like that it is important enough for you not to rest in procrastination at all, right? Like, and I was trying to think about, as I was actually looking up right now versus now, right? And interestingly enough, like, there is a difference.
I think we all know. If your parent ever told you to do something now versus telling you to do it right now.
Right, exactly. Then you know that you best to be moving in that moment. Like, before they get it out, you need to be moving, right? Like, whereas now is like, it could be a longer point in time. Like, it could be within the hour, right? Like, you know, I'm about to do that now. Like, but then I'm going to the bathroom, I'm going to grab a snack. I might be on social media for a little bit, but it's going to happen before the hour hit, right? Like, but right now is like, you know, especially in your personal life, is like really like at haste. And even in your job, like, sometimes you need to handle situations with the people that you work with, right? Or, you know, make sure that there's an understanding that has happened in the moment. Like, immediately I'm thinking about, like, in meetings, right? Like, sometimes I have found myself to hesitate on things that I probably should not be hesitating on in meetings. And I think about, you know, being someone who's a Black woman in tech, and I've been in tech since 2001, right? And, you know, there aren't a lot of us there. And so sometimes when I got into meetings, my voice would be silenced because, you know, like, if you're talking and somebody be like talking over you, or like they'll be always interrupting you. Right. So to me, when I think about it, I'm like, that's something like, and what I would usually do is be like, oh, I'm gonna circle back to them later. But sometimes in the moment, this need to be handled right now. Like, right now. So what are your thoughts?
You know, when I think about it, okay, now I can tie it back to the wisdom that I want to tie it back to earlier. Okay, so whenever something needs to be done right now, there's also an assumption that you already know how to handle it. There's a certain amount of wisdom that you have in order to move quickly, right? This isn't a time where we need to gather consensus. This isn't a time where we can go back and do more research. It is about getting it done, using the experience, the knowledge, and the tools that are currently in your hand at your disposal to make a decision or to take action in this very moment. Right? So urgency requires preparation before you get to the urgent matter. So as a leader, I'm thinking about, how do I make sure that my team is prepared to handle urgent situations? How am I making sure that we understand what the plan is for the next 6 to 12 months, so that whenever something new comes down the pipe, we can figure out how it fits into the puzzle quickly, urgently, so we can then apply it to all of those things that are coming down the line. But urgency requires you to be prepared, right? Like, otherwise it's just chaos. And we're not talking about creating chaos or moving within chaos. We're talking about urgency. We're talking about things that need to be completed in the moment. But it requires a certain amount of, again, preparation in order for you to be able to act in a way that's going to get the results that you want. So for me, when I think about urgency, it's completely tied to preparation. It's tied to wisdom. It's tied to autonomy, right? If someone asks you to do something right now, then like you're the one that needs to get it done. Or if you identify that something needs to happen right now, like within you, you have to have those things, those skills, those tools, those resources to be able to do it. I also think about, I try to tell my team to do their best, or to make the best decision, not the right decision, because right implies that everything else is wrong. Right implies that there's one answer. But in order to make the best decision, that means taking all of the information that you have in this current moment and operating quickly from that particular place. And urgency, right? There isn't time to go get more information, right? We're talking about getting things done quickly. And so making the best possible decision has to be something that I think my team needs. They need to have that confidence that I trust in them to make the best possible decision. Because if urgency comes about, for urgent matter comes about, and there's no confidence, then that's going to slow things down. That's going to lead to more errors. And then that's going to create additional stress around operating in these, kind of, I don't want to call them crises, but these situations that need attended to in the moment. So urgent to and able to operate efficiently during urgent times, during urgent situations, you have to be prepared. You have to have the wisdom, you have to have the confidence, and you have to know, kind of like have some sort of a plan, so that you know how this is going to impact all of the different variables. Urgency can't happen in chaos. It's literally going to tear down the team. You're not going to meet, your deadlines. You're not going to be productive. You're not going to be efficient. So when I think about urgency from a team perspective, wisdom, preparation, and confidence are kind of the things that will really support being able to act efficiently.
This is very good, because I know what just came to my mind. So 2 words came to my mind was trust and confidence, right? So in order to be able to act right now, you have to trust, like you just said, that you do know what to do, right? And trust in yourself. So I'm thinking about, it's just like my business is coming to mind. Like, so in business, sometimes, and in professionalism, sometimes you are in the I don't know space because you are blocking your wisdom. You have wisdom.
Right.
You are just not trusting the wisdom that you have. Right. And so you feel unable to act in the moment because you're not trusting it. And the trusting of that wisdom is confidence. Right? Like that is where the confidence comes from, because when you have wisdom, you know that you are prepared. Right. When you know you are prepared, then you have confidence that you can do this. Right? So those 2 came to my mind, but also like I literally said this to myself. When you have that wisdom and you have that trust and you have that confidence, you stop asking questions. Right? And you just start taking action because you know that your intuition and you have what you need to get it done in your head and in your hands.
Yep.
Right? Like, and I feel that way because I'm thinking about like where I am in my business right now. Like a lot of times we're looking for guidance and mentorship and just all the external input in order to get something done right now, because there's a level of urgency in your spirit because it may be something that you have decided you need to do right now for you, right? For your family, for what you really want. Like you finally decided to go after what you've been tippy-toeing on for years, right? Like, so the right now urgency comes from you, but you may feel like, well, I don't have what I need. But I believe that if it was given to you, right? If the vision is given to you and the desire is given to you, you may need some input, but you have to really lean into the fact that you have what you need in your head and in your hands. Now it's just time to use it and take whatever wisdom that you have in that moment and move, right? And that comes to me, it makes me think back on the awareness and the acceptance that I was talking about. Because if you can move, if you can step out of the feeling of this is urgent, got to happen right now, right? And the potential anxiety, the worry that comes along with that, if you can get into the watcher state and be watching yourself almost like in the Matrix, right? Yeah. Like, then you can move from a place of like, it's almost like that's, to me in my mind, that's when it slows down. Like when I can start watching myself doing the things that I'm doing and I'm like, girl, I know how you feeling. Just do this, just do that. Okay, let's take a moment. Let's think, what do we really want? What are we really thinking? What's in our spirit? What's my intuition saying? Right? What have I been prepared for? What do I know? Like that allows you to act in the right now-ness of it, but from a place of peace and from a place of knowing that even if what I feel like I know that I'm doing is not working right now, like I'm okay with feeling those emotions because I can feel any emotion, right? And still be able to act and move in accordance to trusting in myself and the confidence I have in myself because I've been prepared.
Yeah. And the benefit of urgency is that it gets you to a place of done. Right? They always say perfect is better than done. And if you
done is better than perfect.
Done is better than perfect. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Get me together. They always say that done is better than perfect. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times we have a hard time getting to the done because we're in analysis paralysis. We're thinking, we're moving slowly. We're slow to take action, right? Not that we're, it's not the wisdom of that comes with slowness. It is the insecurity that is causing us to move slowly. And we're looking for all of this outside support or this outside assurance. But whenever you have an urgent matter, it gets you to the point of like, well, this is what I have to get done. Like I have to do it. It's going to be done. And then I can learn from it and be better prepared or take a different action if necessary, in for the next time. But urgency really gets you to that place of done. So it does have a place in the workplace or in your life. You kind of need those moments of urgency to move you forward so that you can kind of check some things off the box. And then I feel like whenever those urgent matters happen, it can really help build your confidence because it's one of those, but did you die kind of situations, right? Like, oh my gosh, like I didn't die. I didn't kill anyone, right? Like everything turned out okay. And maybe there are some things that I would change about it, but I got it done. And that can help build your confidence and showing you that you can do it, even if you didn't have all of the answers beforehand. So I just think about the benefits of urgency and how having to act right now can really move you forward in a way that preparedness, or being over prepared, like can't really get you there. Sometimes you just got to be in the space of
I am like teeming right now because so a question that came to mind as you were talking was, are you able to turn on your own urgency? Right? Because I think a lot of times people are living in a space where they are reacting to situations that other people have made urgent, right? For them, whether it's at work, whether it's at home, or things have become urgent because you have not taken action when you should have. Right? You ain't handling your business. So this is a question that I would suggest you ask yourself is, are you able to turn on your own urgency of right now? Right? Or is it always something else external that gets you into that mode? Right? Because when it's always something external, I feel like that is where the insecurity comes up and the feeling of like, when it is time to go, like, because it came from somebody else, you don't feel ready or you don't feel equipped. But I was watching this reel on Instagram and it took me out. Like, I'm good from now on the insecurity. Okay. Because what he said was, somebody was asking like, how do I get rid of insecurity? Right. And what he was saying is, insecurity comes from the ego telling you that your security is founded in something external than you. So whether it's founded in your job, your security comes from your relationship, it comes from your family, it comes from your money, right? If you're believing that your security only comes from those things, then you will be insecure. But when you have the in insecure, okay, internal, and you know that it comes from within you, it can only come from within you. And you're able to know that you know that you know that you know, with the confidence and the trust and the awareness and the acceptance and the wisdom, those are all internal things. Then you're able to navigate all of the challenges, but all of the surprises, all of the urgencies from a completely different place of confidence and of that peace, right? And you're able to get to done, like you were saying, right, from a place of, I'm trying to think of what, I mean, it's almost like power, right? It's from a place of power as opposed to a place of insecurity.
I absolutely love that, because the one common denominator in every situation is always going to be you, right? So if you're relying on the relationship, then when the relationship is gone, how will you then operate? If you're relying on the job, when the job is gone, how will you then succeed? If you're relying on the money, when the money is then gone, how will you then create success for yourself? But in all of those situations, you have to realize that it was you that was there all along, right?
But I'm me.
And so that it's, but I'm me.
But I'm me.
Check out that episode. But yeah, it's always you that's in those situations. It was you that was making the decisions. And so if you are able to go internal, look at you and be like, okay, I was the one that was winning. I was the one that caused this to happen. There comes that accountability, that self-accountability. So if there's anything that's not there, that you don't know, that you don't have, it's up to you to go get it for yourself, not for you to bring someone along with you, not for you to bring your money with you, your relationships with you, your job with you. It really is you. And so urgency, I think the you in urgency is about you.
You, okay. I love it. Yes. Yes.
I love that. So I would love to hear from you guys. What are some of the tools that you have to create urgency in your life? Is it, are you telling people to have an external source of accountability? Are you putting things on your calendar? Are you booking dates? Are you setting up shows? Are you, telling people you have a product? What are some of the ways that you create urgency in your life?
And I also want to know what y'all need to be doing right now. Okay. What y'all need to be doing? We're gonna hold you accountable. Okay. Get it out. Rats. R-A-T. Okay. Now.
And if you are really enjoying these series, we're going to have a deeper conversation. So as many of you know, I host a conversation series called Life Unlearned, where we explore the expectations that we had for life and then the things that we had to unlearn in order to create the life that we truly wanted. And our next guest coming up is going to be none other than Miss INEZ Chimangariso. So make sure you go to Eventbrite, get your tickets. It is going to be on Wednesday, June 14th at 7 p.m. So get your tickets. They're only $10, but you can come and enjoy this conversation. We're going to talk about This is 40. And all the things that come with that. We're talking about self-love, self-care, parenting, relationships, career, you name it, we're going to explore it. So please check us out.
Yes. I'm so excited to do this. It's going to be a good time. Y'all make sure to join us.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us again, and we will see you. Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.